Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome to this very special CEO Talk series organized by Utah. I'm Dr. Chung. I will be the moderator for today's event. So every one of you, you can see my video and also the Mr. Liu video. Welcome, Mr. Liu. Okay,
Hello,
so
good afternoon, everybody.
have close to 200 participants. I'm expecting probably another 30 to 50 participants to join. Okay,
Very
while
accurate.
waiting for the rest of the participants to join, let me briefly introduce Mr. Liu. Who is Mr. Liu? I feel that whenever I have the chance to talk to Mr. Liu, I have gained some knowledge. I have gained some wisdom. I think it is my honor to get to know Mr. Liu. So Mr. Liu, it is the group CEO of Mdt Innovations. He has the experience of working in the US, in Japan, and founded a very successful company in Malaysia called Mdt Innovation. Let me uh, briefly, not briefly, quite lengthy, so that uh, introduction of Mr. Liu. So every one of you, you know a little bit more about Mr. Liu. So born on March 16, 1960 in Johor and raised in Negeri Sembilan till the age of 16, Mr. Liu graduated with top honors from Malaysia, prestigious Royal Military College. Mr. Liu then attained a Malaysian Armed Forces scholarship and left Malaysia in 1981 to pursue his further studies in the US for his bachelor degree and also his graduate degree. Okay, subsequently, so he worked in Manhattan for 5 years with Fuji Keizai USA. Mr. Liu became a successful industry analyst and strategy consultant in New York, St. Joe's, and Tokyo, serving giant corporations such as NTT, Panasonic, NEC. He was headhunted back in 1993 by Japan Matsushita Electric Industrial Corporation Limited, now known as Panasonic Corporation, moving to Japan that June to live and work as the general manager of worldwide operation at Matsushita Electric Corporation Limited, also known as Panasonic, based in Fujisawa, Japan. He formed MDT group of companies in year 2000 and returned to Malaysia back in year 2004, which was 17 years ago. In the early 1990s, Mr. Liu was among the top market analysts on the hot technology called multimedia with Nick Arnett of Multimedia Corporation. Mr. Liu was involved in pen-based and mobile computing, working with Jeff Hawkins, Donna of Palm Computing, and Maystar of Sharp Corporation, and led to the success of Palm Pilot and Zarus. Mr. Liu has led MDT Innovations to over ringgit Malaysia 2 billion in export sales. In year 2011, Mr. Liu created history by guiding MDT Innovation to emerge as a 12th in Deloitte's Fast 500 Asia Pacific, highest ranking ever achieved by an Asian company. Between 2006 and 2013, the company won 13 Asia Pacific ICT awards, including 2 Prime Minister Best of the Best award back in year 2007 and 2013. Red Herring Asia 100 award in 2008 and Red Herring Global 100 award in 2009. Mr. Liu was among the 13 members of the it is local advisory panel to MOSTI and MDEC, providing input on enhancing national ICT competitiveness abroad. Mr. Liu plays a vital role in major ICT events such as speaker, judge, or panel member. In 2015, Mr. Liu was awarded the Ernst & Young's Entrepreneur of the Year in Technology category. In 2016, MDT was chosen by IoT Business Platform Asia to be among the top 5 vendors behind Microsoft, IBM, Google, and Cisco. In 2014 all the way to 2018, the company was chosen the Best Brand Asia and Best Employee Awards. In 2018, February, Mr. Liu was featured in the cover page story of CIO Outlook, and in August, Mdt Innovation won Frost and Sullivan's Best.
Yes, very detailed information.
The company was conferred the prestigious Malaysia Best Employer Brand Award 2019 by the World Human Resource Development Congress held at Lee Meridian Hotel, Cal Central, and won Top 100 Asia Best Employer Brands 2019 held in Singapore. In conjunction with PCOM Digital Summit 2019, the company received the prestigious ICT Global Icon Award during the ICT Award and Gala Dinner 2019 that was held at Connection Conference and Event Center at the Vertical Bangsa, South Kuala Lumpur. So this is a little bit of introduction on Mr. Liu. Okay, perhaps so I can pass the floor to Mr. Liu. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Liu to share, I would say, to share his wisdom, to share his experience, perhaps to give us some tips how to become a successful entrepreneur with science and technology background, how he moved from science and technology to become such a successful entrepreneur today. I pass the floor to you, Mr. Liu.
Thank you, Dr. Chang. Very good afternoon to the professors at Utah, to the organizer, Matik, and also to all the audience who are online. Thank you very much for joining us. Today, I'm here to share with you my personal experience as an entrepreneur and as an ordinary one. I'm not an outstanding entrepreneur, but many of you are already even doing better than me, are already an entrepreneur. But the most important thing that we want to achieve today would be, after the about close to 1 hour of talk, if you can pick up 1 or 2 points which could influence you or could be useful in your life or in your journey to become an entrepreneur, then I have achieved my objective. So with that, don't take this talk too seriously. Is my voice there?
Yes. Can you share your screen, Mr. Liu? Yeah, we need you to share your PowerPoint slide, Mr. Liu.
Okay, sure. Can you show the slide? Is it? Okay. Here's the slide. Don't take this talk too seriously and don't feel obliged to listen to all I have to say. But at the end of this session, I wish that you have 1 or 2 takeaways and we accomplish our goal for today. I would like to share with you, before I start with my entrepreneur journey, I'd like to share with you a little bit the humble beginning. I was born in Segamat, raised in Gemas. Gemas, a small town in Negeri Sembilan. We live in a sawmill Kilang Patang, next to Rancangan Sungai Kelama, next to the Felda Rancangan Sungai Kelama. And life then was very tough. Like many of people of our age, we had very hard times. My father was a saw doctor, and we don't have water supplied to the home. We have to go to the well to fetch the water. We don't have electricity then. We use those lamps, and we live in wooden houses. We grow our own vegetables. We rear pigs behind our near our garden, and those were the times. So just like an ordinary person, I grew up and I managed to do well in my studies, and I was accepted to RMC, and the journey was earlier described by Professor Chang in a very detailed way. So that's what I am today, with a very beginning and humble beginning. And so, yes, I was a top industry analyst in Manhattan for many years, but that was glory of the past. Let us begin with, allow me to introduce my company so you know what we are currently doing. Then we can get into Q&A and you can ask me any question, be it very personal or any question at all, because I am here to share with you my experiences. Okay, with that, can you allow me to introduce my company, Mdt Innovations. Okay, I have to flip this. The man who leads, this was me. The photo was taken a few years ago. Quite good looking, not bad. Okay, this is Mdt Innovation. We are actually involved in IoT embedded engineering. To elaborate embedded engineering, most of you are Utah students, you know what is embedded engineering. But the things that we do will be involving energy, security, healthcare, digital ID, fintech, e-agro. Those are the key components of IoT. Financially, our company has been doing very well. It was profitable since day one. From the first year we were founded, we have exported more than 2 billion ringgit worth of services and merchandise overseas. Our current market value is very small, it's 100 million US dollars, that's about 400 million ringgit. But we want to emphasize that we are Deloitte Fast 500 company. And on the right are some of the colleagues, some of the awards that we have won, which I'm going to skip. Yes, Professor did mention earlier on, you are not looking at an ordinary so-called Tom, Dick and Harry company. You are looking at one of the top 5 IoT company in the region. This was published by IoT Business Platform in 2016. They ranked number 1 Microsoft, number 2 IBM with their Azure and their Bluemix platform, and Google was number 3. Google is everywhere, as you know. And MDT, we were very fortunate. We have earned the 4th placing, and it was to our surprise that we ranked even higher than Cisco. Cisco was then considered the king of IoT. John Chambers, the chairman, make a very important keynote speech about Internet of Things connects everything in Las Vegas in the Summit 2014. But there was a history. As you can see, a Malaysian small, tiny little company ranked among all the giants. So that gave us a good start. And 2 years later, 2018, on February 18, I was chosen and our company was selected among the top 25 IoT solutions provider in Asia Pacific, APAC. So it's not just ASEAN, it's Asia Pacific. They have very good description about our company and they write very detailed. If you wish to have this, we can send a copy of this for your reference. And here are all the top 25 solution provider, many of them from Taiwan and India, Japan. We were the only one of the 2 ASEAN companies selected them. This is also glory of the past. In 2015, I was elected as, I was nominated and selected as the Entrepreneur of the Year in technology category, Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year. And 2018, August 15, this is Radzai, my colleague who is our corporate director of planning. He was in Singapore to receive the top IoT award from Frost & Sullivan. This was held in Shangri-La Hotel. And later on, we were in a social event. We were recognized as one of the top Malaysian global icon, global digital icon. So this is also quite an honor and international achievement. Allow me to elaborate on red herring top 100 company in the world. These are private company. We achieved this in 2008. 2008, that was many years ago. But we were red herring top 100. and Red Herring Top 100 Asia, Red Herring Top 100 Europe, Red Herring Top 100 America. We were all called upon to be present at San Diego in the United States. We do our presentation and we were nominated as top 100 global company in 2008. The ceremony was held in 2009, January 14 to 16. The time when we won, the previous winners before they became public were, the old one were Qualcomm, the newer ones at the time was Yahoo, and the newest one were Google. So we were ranked among those big names since 2008. But we are still very small as of today. Despite our size, we are still very small. Of course, Deloitte, which Professor Chang has mentioned earlier, we were ranked number 12 in Asia Pacific among the top 500 fastest growing company in Asia Pacific. Our compounded annual growth rate was 3,310%. We grew from few hundred thousand to 1 million to 10 million. So you see, when we were small, the growth rate could be much higher. We grew at that kind of rate, and we were selected as top 500 fastest growing company in Asia Pacific. But having said that, after 2015, 2016, 2017, 18, 19, until last year, our growth rate was still maintained at 35 to 45%. Our revenue increases from 108 million to 151, 209, 269, and 288 million. So we were also increasing our growth rate at about 40 to 50 million on an annual basis. That is in ringgit, not in US. But I would say it is quite a good company to grow in that kind of at that kind of rate. About other awards I'd like to mention is ASEAN Best Company, R&D Company. WITSA is World Information Technology Software Alliance. We won this award in Guadalajara, Mexico. I think one of the only 2 ASEAN company which has won this prestigious award. Asia Pacific ICT Award, which Professor Chan has mentioned earlier, we participated as a contestant. Later on, I became a judge, and we, starting from 2013, I think we don't participate anymore. So more people can win the awards, and so this is quite an achievement because we won the Prime Minister Award twice. For a company to win a Prime Minister Award twice, it is extremely difficult. We have best of R&D, best of communication, best of infrastructure, best of security, best of the best, and then they chose the best winner, which is called Best of the Best Prime Minister Award. So we won that award in 2007 when Abdullah Badawi was our Prime Minister. We won that award again when Najib was the Prime Minister then. Irrespective of the political scenario, we remain a competitive R&D, a competitive technology company over the years. We wanted to be one of the top IoT company in Asia Pacific. Over the years, through different awards and different recognition, I think we have achieved that. To grow further, we want to be the top 5 worldwide. However, there's no such organization measuring who is number 1, who is number 2. So this is just so-called self-satisfaction. We wanted to be the top 5 worldwide. I think we are achieving towards that goal because of the solutions that we are providing is getting more and more popular in different countries. So here is where we are today, and video will show you everything about our company. This is a very short video, 5 to 7 minutes. All those solutions that you see on the screens are the real solution that we are providing. Like the previous one was a prisoner monitoring system. This we have done it in Bangi and a few other places. These are all real cases that I'm presenting. In fintech, we provide universal payment gateway. Those are the markets that we are involved. Was established in 2000. We specialize in display technologies. Over the years, we have extended our product line into RFID and technologies. We are the global IoT company. Oh, bagus. So at MDT, we transform technologies into solutions. So that is the only thing that we are doing. Use the technology, make it useful solutions. Here are some of the flagship applications that over the years we have implemented in various markets, some in Australia, some in Norway. School track is in China. This trolley, I think we have smart trolley, that is in Australia. Coles, we have not penetrated into Woolworth. Connected healthcare, we do it in National Cancer Institute, Malaysia. And this IP-based walkie-talkie for security guards, we do it in China. For the security guards who go make rounds, that you can monitor their movement, they can capture the activities real time, something happen, and incidents, they can record it. So those were the applications that we have done. NFC SIM, we have done it only during the 2010 World Expo in Shanghai. Was we sold 2 million SIM cards to China Mobile then, and ZTE or Zhongxing ZTE, some people call it, and MDT were the two suppliers. So those were the flagship applications that we have done. If you need more information from us, we can send you video, we can send you write-ups, so you can look into how these solutions were being implemented, or you can, from our PowerPoint or from our PDF, you can get more ideas for those who are into the same field as us. For those who are not, just for your reference, these are the kind of big projects that we have done overseas. There's one on Linotech. That is the biggest so-called invention a Malaysian company has made. Can you imagine you use a string and becomes an antenna of RFID? This is the RFID that we have invented. We have filed 3 patents, manufacturing process, etc., technology, and this is one of our biggest invention in the year 4-5 years ago. We filed patent in 13 countries. Those countries which make garments, Bangladesh, China, Pakistan, Indonesia, we filed patent in those countries. And this is, if we have a chance to talk about this, this is something that For those who are interested, we can discuss it separately, because today we are not going to discuss about technology. We are going to talk about the journey of this entrepreneurship. Some of the applications that our company provide, without realizing it, we are doing people management. What is people management? You monitor the people who comes to your office. You monitor the visitor. Prisons, you monitor the whereabouts of that particular person. And so in the command center, we know the whereabouts of the security guard. When a security guard was called upon due to some incident, 10 of them came, one person didn't show up. What happened? You can check and track from the IoT devices that we have. 10 minutes ago, this person was in the basement, or this person was on third floor, that kind of things. So this is for people management. One of the solutions that we are providing to many of our clients. Industry 4.0, this is one of the things that we have done. You see those, the chart is real life, those video. This is real life usage in one of the top semiconductor company. Okay, the name is there. Okay, it was Freescale. Later, when NXP took over Freescale, it's called NXP Malaysia also. We did a pilot project in our Malaysian factory in 2013, in December. By 2014, January, full implementation. And today is 2011. They are still using the same systems, which prove that our technology works. For 7 years, they are still using the same technology, and they have expanded it to NXP. Those days they call it Freescale Tianjin, near Beijing, the Tianjin city, which is 60 assembly line, much bigger than our Malaysian factory. And then later on, NXP Thailand, Bangkok, NXP Kaohsiung, they are all using our same solutions. This again, if you get into technology, is not an easy task. RFID is very weak and prone to the metals in the semiconductor room. Reflection will cause the interference of signals and things like that. We have made the world's smallest RFID, slit it underneath, and take the so-called data and transmit it wirelessly or with wire to their server. So that is quite a very challenging task, which we did since 2013. That is Industry 4.0. Today, we have expanded our Industry 4.0 applications to, I don't know if I should mention the name, one of the very large semiconductor firm in Malacca. They have more than 10 factories in Malacca alone. Okay, it's a very large worldwide top, those are Fortune 500 companies. So the company starts with I. That is Industry 4.0. MDT is doing this. Those who are into this area, the students, you can send to your professor, or you can contact us directly for more information. We are willing to share with you, so this thing can become a mainstream application in the future. We do the workforce management, construction worker in the hot sun, working for 5 hours. Wow, you better do something about it. Or a worker did not move for the past 6 hours in the same position. What has happened to him? Did he fainted? Did he had a heart attack? You know, that kind of workforce monitoring system. Many of you who are also science in this so-called science stream, you must have done some projects in your university doing all kinds of so-called track and trace experiences. Those are the devices you can see. Sensors, you can do GIP, this is a GPS system. You can, depending on the proximity, the distance where you want to measure and collect the data. If it is very near, like touch and go, like the payment, you just use near field communication, NFC, near field communication. If it is maybe slightly further, maybe a few meters, you use BLE, Bluetooth BLE, to measure the distance and you collect the data. And if it is even further, Wi-Fi, 1 building, 2 building, if you want to measure somebody who is collect the data which is very far away, 10 kilometer the radius, you can use LoRa, low powered Wi-Fi. And then if you want to even measure somebody who is far away, 30 kilometer, you can consider Zigbee, active Zigbee. Or finally, you want to measure this the whereabouts of this person, except for underground and in the basement, you can use GPS. Any of this is depending on the protocol, the program which you write into the chipset. And it determines the reading distance between the object and the reader. So this is the workforce management. We have a WeCare platform. The WeCare platform, we break it into school modules for student safety, factory module for employee management, hospital module, patient visibility, where's the doctor, where's the nurse, and the equipment, where's the equipment, operation room A or operation room 3, room B. Hotel modules, the employee monitoring and assets monitoring, supermarket, and most commonly used event management. The events module is for visitor attendance and group tracking. We actually also modify this to a special watch where the Umrah and Hajj, when they go for pilgrimage, they can be monitored, especially towards the, you know, person is from Malaysia, this person, if some incident, and sometimes it happens, stampede, everybody rushing to the holy stone. Sometimes accidents happen. You want to identify the person or the body, and those are unfortunate things. We talk about healthy person. You want to monitor his whereabouts. Where is this particular person in this group? Mana dia pergi? Where did he lost himself? Where is he? That kind of this so-called tracking mechanism, tracking device that we have made into a smart, beautiful watch, and very cheap and economical. Connected healthcare, we have been, that is our Mr. Chiu, the ex-Utah student. That is Farhan. A lot of, we have been doing this for many hospitals and hotels. Linen management, but with RFID. That means, you know that hospital linens, there are special procedure when the soil linen, you don't count it one by one when it is shipped out from the hospital. Do you know that? Okay, the soil linen, because of hygiene reason, some of them have blood stain, some of them have vomit, some of them have urine. So the workers throw them in the bag and tie them up, and then they ship it out. So when they ship it out, they weigh it. What is the weight? And they estimate based on per sheets, the weight of the bed sheet. They just estimate, 50 pieces go out, 50 pieces go out. Actually, the wetness and the so-called stain on the thing can affect the accuracy. So sometimes when you ship out 2,000 bed sheets in a day, after you send it to the laundry plant and wash it, ironing it, when it comes back to the hospital, you have to count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the quantity never matches. And did you know what is the discrepancy based on our experience with hospitals? A lot of major government hospitals, the discrepancy rate is 20 to 30%. A lot of them are 30%. I use 20 to save some faces for some workers. 20 to 30% discrepancy. Aku hantar 2,000, kenapa, why come back 100, 1,080? That kind of things. So with RFID, very accurate reading, monitoring the process when the exact location in the exact process in one full cycle. So this is part of the connected healthcare service that we provide. But that is only for linen. It's called linen management. We do it for equipment. You look at the video on the left-hand side. Those are important equipment, pumps, ventilators, things like that. Sometimes the item is removed. and it's used by another room, another doctor, it's not returned. So this real-time monitoring is also very important. So this is another so-called applications that our company is offering since many, many years ago. This is school track. Unfortunately, we don't have big success in Malaysia and Indonesia, despite the fantastic feature that it offers. When your son goes to school at 8 a.m., you receive a phone call, your son has arrived at school at 8 a.m. sharp. Your son has left the school at 2 p.m., 35 minutes and 25 seconds, things like that. This has been very successful in China. We have done more than 100,000 schools in China. Our partner is China Telecom. They provide the infrastructure, the Wi-Fi and so-called 4G. Parents subscribe to the service, and in China it's very detailed. PTA days, sports days, school children's result, eating in the canteen, everything is monitored. In Malaysia, we tried many times. They are more concerned about attendance. They are more concerned about in and out if the children run out of the school or something like that. But we face obstacles. People here are more concerned like this. A child runs out of the school during the school period. Parents receive an SMS. Is he okay? Oh, yeah, he's all right. Something like that. PTA have their own opinions, and when the fees come to even to pay 2 ringgit per student per month is still a challenge. So we are trying to work out a so-called free-for-all model. We are working on that, free for all, so school does not have to pay, student does not have to pay. In China, we charge the 10 renminbi per student per month. And to the parents with one child policy, 10 renminbi is nothing. It's $1.20. It's nothing. So it was very successfully implemented. And also the political system and so-called change of command. When the school headmaster accepted our proposal and likes our idea, means the project will go. In Malaysia, it's quite different. School headmaster agrees to our proposal. They have to get the PTA's consent. They have to get someone else's consent. So we are not achieving big success in this country, but this is our biggest revenue generator in the whole of our company because of the success in China. So that is school track. In Malaysia, we call school safe, school safety. Boeing Tech, one of our subsidiary in Malaysia, is one of the smartest factory which measure the environmental factors, which measure the temperature, the machine, we can do the machine mining, the temperature of the epoxy, the pressure. So this is one of the factory that we are doing, but it is also one of the biggest Malaysian manufacturing plant with our manufacturing capacity of 1 billion pieces of RFID inlays. This RFID labels, inlays, if I have inlays, this RFID inlays. So these RFID labels. This is also RFID. This is also RFID. So our plant in Melaka in Aikro, very near to Myeong Mauer, it's an excellent plant. You're welcome to visit if you want to learn some smart factory solutions. So that is Boeing Tech Malaysia, a joint venture between MDT and one of the world's largest producer of RFID, Boeing Tech Shanghai. These are some of our clients, which from government to SME to education to blue chip clients. With that, I have briefly explained what our company is doing. Some people consider us very successful, but I think we are just an ordinary company doing ordinary things. I would like to share with you my personal experience in which over the past 20 years, some of them are very challenging. Those personal experience will be more useful for for people who wanted to follow the same path, or just for the general knowledge. Oh, somebody is doing this, so the next time I have to be more careful when we're dealing with persons like that. So with that, I conclude my company presentation. And Professor Chang, back to you. So we see how it goes from here.
Yep. So thank you so much for the interesting sharing by Mr. Liu. I can see that probably we have another probably about 20 to 30 minutes. So we can take some questions. So for the audience, if you want to ask some question directly to Mr. Liu, you can actually type at the chat box. Type at the chat.
Page yang pertama tu.
And then so on top of that, so a few days ago, some of you during the registration, you have sent some questions to Mr. Liu. So because there are just too many questions, I can unfortunately, so I can only pick some of the questions. So perhaps I start to ask the first question to Mr. Liu. So Mr. Liu, so a lot of the audience today, they are students. Majority of them, they are Utah student. Probably some of them, they could probably is a general public a student. So basically, we are now of artificial intelligence, industry 4.0, and also unfortunately pandemic time. So what skill do you advise the young people, for example, the university student, to learn to help them for their future? Yeah, Mr. Liu.
Okay, about skills. When you say what kind of skill is required to be a good entrepreneur, you see, skills is very subjective. Skills for a doctor is to be a doctor, skills to be a lawyer, skills to be an architect, or skills to be an ICT people who do computers. So those are individual skills that each has to learn. I think we are more on the personal skills here on this particular basis. Everybody has his own talents and his own weaknesses. But one particular thing that I value a lot is you don't have to be a great presenter, but you have to be an effective communicator. When you communicate, when you present your idea to the target audience, you have to make sure that he listens and he gets your point. So that is a skill that every individual, be it an employee or an employer, you have to have this kind of skill. When you talk, somebody listens. So I think the single most important skill is communication skill, effective, to make sure that audience understands what you presented. So there are many skills which are required for different job scope and different thing. But the very important one, which I personally think, is ability to communicate, ability to present the idea. So that is communication skill. So I answer your question with only one answer. Otherwise, we will elaborate, there will be too many things to talk about. So I don't know if most of you agree with me or not, but communication skill is one very vital part of being successful. Or let's quote an example. You're asking for $5 million. Your ability to communicate, your ability to present will determine whether or not you get this money or not.
Yep. So I think Mr. Liu, your answer is loud and clear. Okay. The other question probably on the spot question from one of the audience. So probably Mr. Liu, so you started your business probably about 20 years ago. When you first started your business, how long did it take you for Mdt Innovation to get the first customer, to get the first order? Or you get your first order before you started the business?
No, we had 12 people in Cyberjaya. We started doing display technologies then, designing video chipset. We have to look for our customers from zero. First year we did 360,000 ringgit, I think. But our overhead was very low. 20 years ago, salary was very low. We still make profit. I think we still made 10 to 20,000 ringgit profit. So that's why we say we were profitable since year one. Our first real big customers comes in after we moved to technology park. Is Bukit Jalil. Mimos, Sirim, those are big customers. That was after tremendous lobbying and tremendous efforts. Prior to that, we have one Vehicle Information Management System, VIMS, for Ministry of Defense. That is for MINDEF, for Batu Cantonment projects, to track and trace all the vehicles, what is in the vehicle, the radio set, the communication tools, the arms. So it was quite a big project. It was a 2.3 million ringgit project for 20 years ago. That was the project that made us more profitable at the time. So that was the first experience. However, we have very dedicated staffs. People like Sim, people like Yap, Wai, Lam, they work so hard. They work even till late nights to do all those, to comply with the requirements of our clients. So I would say I was comparatively lucky. Many of them are fresh graduates. Okay, with my experience we share. I never treat myself as a boss. I think I'm one of you. We work and together. So that was how we grow. Yeah. So if you think about the first big project was a Ministry of Defense project, MINDEF. We never used any connections. I was still hiding as the old Putra of RMC. I never mentioned I was from RMC. Yeah. So that was the first big project.
Okay, thank you for the answer from Mr. Liu. So perhaps I can move on to the next question. So I'm sure, so Mr. Liu, during your corporate journey, for example, the journey of...
We have answered this Aining Ho's question, right?
Yeah,
yeah. Your question was also asked by Professor Chang.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so Mr. Liu, can I move on to the next question?
Sure.
Okay, so Mr. Liu, I'm sure during your corporate journey, probably your entrepreneurial journey, you have faced a lot of challenges. Probably you can share with us maybe one or two very memorable challenges and probably share with us how you overcome the challenges.
Okay, yes, ups and downs, obstacle. One of the biggest challenges, I think I'm not the only person facing this challenge, but for my personal experience, I did businesses in China, in Taiwan, Indonesia, many other countries which speak different languages and also different styles. Japan has been always a very good market and good people. I share with you one of the biggest challenges in Taiwan and China. Having signed an agreement, having done all this, we transferred the money and there were some forms in investment, some forms in loan. Finally, when things do not move smoothly, the project didn't move forward, people can turn around and bite you, They make different claims that this was a gift from you. I never borrow money from you. How do you deal with people like this? You want to kill him or he kills you? It's your foreign land. You don't belong there. Who is MDT? Nobody in China. Who is in Shantung? Who are we? We are nobody. So how do you handle a problem like this? To do business in various countries, Indonesia, okay, people refuse to pay you. What are you going to do? So those are the biggest challenge for personally. We have many good customers. We have many good experiences. Occasionally, we meet one or two who refuse to pay you. Okay, you ask me this question, what is your biggest challenge? So same thing is happening to all my colleagues who are doing businesses. Okay, my advice is to face this kind of thing, you first have to sit down. What kind of, what is our position in this? You want to give up or you want to pursue further? First, you have to make a decision. For me, it's like this. We don't want to give up easily. Don't give up easily. You have to find a way to solve it amicably. if not, solve it with a compromise. How do we compromise? Some people, when they face difficulty, they deny, but after you talk to them properly, they will find a way to return some of the money to you. So that is a compromise. At least you get back some of the money owed to your company. So that you solve one challenge. But for people who are really extremely difficult person, or people who intended to cheat you from the very beginning, you have to know that this is part of life. And I lost $200,000 to this particular customer in Indonesia. Do I want to get back this money by this lawyer? There's no way I can recover the money. So you have to live with this. Can my company lose 200,000 without being damaged seriously? So that kind of things you have to take into consideration. To me, this challenge is not only my challenge, it's a challenge for all businessmen. I would advise you, don't give up quickly. Try to find a compromise solution. And if finally no solution, you have to let go. You have to have the heart to let go. You lose some, you gain. I lose $200,000 in Indonesia. I make 2 million from China. So that kind of mentality. Sometimes it's overcoming yourself, not overcoming that problem as it is. So does that answer your question?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
That is one of the biggest challenges we face. Because if you plan carefully, things usually do not happen, the incidents that I mentioned. But there are people, as a project goes, turns bad and they have no money to pay you back, they come back with different stories and bite on you, you know. So that is the kind of things that we have to face. We have many questions coming in. How should I handle this? Some of the question, Professor Chan, they ask the same question as you.
I can select.
What problems you face as the start of an enterprise? How did you face it? So there was what are the key points for a techno entrepreneur? Can I answer that?
Yeah,
it's
sure.
By Mr. Howard.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah. Actually, entrepreneur, be it techno entrepreneur or ordinary whatever businessman, I personally think that if you speak Chinese, 用心, use your heart. 用心. When you do something with your heart, chances are you are going to do well. You try your best, chances are you are going to do well. So that is the key. When we have a project, I form a team first. I identify the people who can do it with me. Usually I'm personally involved in many of the projects. So they call it a hands-on CEO. Different people come out with different opinion, but if you know there is a specific technique which can solve it within the shortest time, you do it that way. Okay, you see there are 3 qualities that you need to be a good entrepreneur. The first one is you have to be humble. Be humble. Don't different people have different styles. You are one of the employees. Don't think that you are great. You have to be humble and listen to what other people have to say before you start talking. Listen. So that's number 1. Number 2, the second trait which I value very much is diligent. You have to be dedicated. You have to be determined. Use your heart. Like say in Chinese we say 用心去做一件事情，一定会有相当的把握。So you can do better if you use your heart. And number 3, okay, I want to share with you one experience. I live in Fujisawa in Japan. I was cycling to the supermarket, in which the roadsides, they just start building the paths with the stainless steel paths along the highway, the road to the supermarket. On my way back, I saw these people wearing the uniform. Most of them are old because they are the so-called part-time workers who used to do those city hall work is for the benefit of the citizens. So they built posts along the highway, and then they painted the road for bicycle and for pedestrian. So that's the place where I live in Fujisawa, Kanagawa Ken. So I saw this man using the cloth, no, not this man, many of them, to wipe the pole, clean up, make it shining, make the whole thing. They do to such extent, you know, they use their respect for their job is so much that they dedicate themselves to do a small, simple thing. That impresses me a lot. Another time I was in Tokyo, late at night, taking the train back to my home. I saw this takoyaki old man cleaning up the tools, cleaning up, use the scrap, cleaning up, so focused in doing what he's doing. So in Mandarin we say 匠人 is a person who dedicated himself into his profession. Even a takoyaki old salesman doing that, he respect the tools, he respect his work. So that's why in many ways, Japanese are very successful in many ways due to this form of so-called social phenomenon, or this form of this kind of spirits in them, is their upbringing, is into their habit. If it would be good for us Malaysian to pick up some of this and do things like what they do. I wouldn't say we have to copy, but dedicate ourselves to a single thing. So back to your question, Howard, determination, diligent. First of all, be humble. So that is what makes me what I can achieve today. Of course, I am still not perfect. There's still a lot of things to learn, but those are the basic things that that helped me a lot along the way. We have many questions. I don't know, Professor, over to you.
Okay, so Mr. Liu, so perhaps I can ask another
you
question.
have to show the screen here so I can read it.
Okay, yeah. So let's see the. Okay, so one of the question is, so Mr. Liu, so when in advising to Utah students, some of them I believe they want to start their own business. In your opinion, what is the most important thing to take note when, let's say, for example, Chang Yong Chun, I want to start my own business. Chang Yong Chun Sendirian Bohan. Do you have any?
This is an excellent question. Many of your students, you see, like some students, they never have to work for anybody. Mark Zuckerberg never worked for anybody. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, they all dropouts and they don't have to complete their education. So many of Utah students can be great entrepreneurs in times to come. We never know. But the environment, the dynamics, our market, so-called components are not there. So whether or not we can create that kind of hero, we do not know. However, what are the most important things to take note when you want to start your own business? Here I can share with you. This one we can share. Okay, let's see like this. When you want to start a business or sell a service or sell a product, you have to ask yourself first, what is my core technology? What do I have? Okay, first question. So that is core technology for products or for services. When you are in business, you either sell a product or sell a service. Okay, number two, do I have the team? Number one is core technology. Number two is team. Do I have the team? No one person cannot do everything. So I have Yap, who can do so many things for us. I have Sim, who can do so many things for us. So we share vision together, and then you do this, you do this. I personally feel very difficult to do it alone, despite all the energies that I'm quite energetic. We do work till late, but I strongly feel that you have to have the team. Number three, most important of all, ask yourself before you start the business. Very good. Where is the market? I want to create something, there's no market. So the three things is core technology, the team, and the market. So that answers your question. The rest of it, you have to put the pieces together. You know? To start a business, you have to look at these three ingredients. Of course, it's not easy. Not everybody will succeed. Let's say out of 10 people started the business, if we have 3 people succeeded, that's considered a very good, it's just like baseball. 0.30 is considered a very big BTI. This is a bad run in. So it's not like you have to do 100%. So that answered the question. I think you need core technology, you need to have the team, and you need to identify the market. That is for people who want to start a business. We have so many questions, Professor.
Yeah, perhaps
and I don't know if we can answer them, but if for those people whose questions are not answered, you are free to, my staff is sending out our emails. You can send in your question by email. We are willing to share with you. If I have the time, I will answer it personally. So sometimes it's not difficult to say everything in one session, but if I have time to think, I can give you better answers. So for those whose questions are not answered, don't be discouraged. We take them all into consideration. We will answer your question one by one. For the lucky ones, Professor Chang, please continue your question.
Yeah, perhaps I think as a continuation to my question just now. Okay, so let's say, for example, I set up a company, Changyong Chun Sendram Pohan. So the next question, the next challenge is the pay up capital. For example, a startup company, for example, there's the question from the Vincent Tan. So one of the challenges is the startup capital. So do you have any advice? For example, a lot of people, oh, I have a great idea. This is the best idea in the world. I have the best team in the world, but I don't have money to start up. So do you have any advice, Mr. Liu?
Sure. This is a very practical questions for all businesses. My company started with 100,000 ringgit paid up, and we grew, and then our paid up increased. Now we are more than 50 million paid up. But actually, you don't need big paid up to do business. You need the cash flow. You need the cash to sustain, to pay the salary, to pay the renter, to pay the transportation, and for the overhead expenses. If you start with 3 to 5 people, let's say 3 people, you may have to sacrifice your salary. But a lucky company like us, from the very beginning, we have enough money to pay for the salary of every individual, to pay for rent. So that is considered lucky. But these days, it's getting so tough to start a new business. But fortunately, you are in Malaysia. Don't blame everything. You're in Malaysia. Our country got so much. I don't know if Utah students are aware. Other people who have already started their business, they do use the government assistance. One of the questions here asks, did you get any government assistance? Yes. You can apply grant, digital grant, Mdt grant, credit grant, magic grant, all kinds of grants. You can really get in. And our company, even during our growth path, we have received 2 grants in terms of millions of ringgit. So, you have to design something, then you have to pay half the money for the development, then another half comes from the government. Mdt, MDEC, Mdt has helped our company a lot. They set the platform for us to meet with our clients and all this. They are very, very good matchmaker, very helpful people with a lot of professionals. So Mdt is one of them, but there are many other companies out there, creator funds, okay, there's big funds, or you can, if you look at Magic, it was supposed to help small startups and SME grant. Do you know that you can get 400,000 very easily? Of course, we don't qualify for that, but also, let's say individual company, go to Vitrox, go to FusionX, go to Mdt, maybe we can help some of you. when you start a business if you have a good business plan. So today, the youngsters, if youth students especially, if you want to form a business, it's actually not very challenging compared to our times. So funding, you can get private and also government funding from practically everywhere. Everywhere. Do you know that there are so many grants for smart factory out there? The government has approved 500 million ringgit. Kerajaan sudah is there for you to apply. Did you apply? You never thought that there was such a grant. And when you apply, chances of you getting is quite high because there are not many people applying for it. If you have a good content, good business plan, and you will succeed. I think Malaysia is a very good place to start a business, despite the fact that the growth cannot be in the magnitude of those companies in Singapore and USA, but it's we can grow many companies doing the kind of things that MDT is doing. We can share the experience for those who can send me text in private. I will answer you. Okay, it's very difficult to answer all the questions in one shot.
Perhaps we can, so I can ask the last question. So because the time now is probably 3:06, I'm not sure.
We have already exceeded. We have already passed our time.
Yeah, so maybe we can.
Sorry for those people who asked the questions. I have got your questions. We'll take it down. We'll try to answer you separately. Yeah, for those those people whom I did not manage to answer your question.
Yep. So there's one question from my colleague, Dr. D. So my colleague would like to say, Mr. Liu, how has the COVID pandemic affected your company? Today is the 23rd day of the full lockdown, so in Malaysia. Okay. So what have you or your company learned from this pandemic? Yep.
First of all, we thought the pandemic will be over by 2020. That was our initial reaction. As time goes by, our business was affected, projects were delayed, payments were delayed, they refused to sign a contract because we have nothing to do. If I sign the contract, I have to start paying you. So our turnover dropped by 30% last year, from 300 million dropped to 200 over million. So that was what happened to MDT last year. I'm sure it happens to other corporations and other companies as well. Some are seriously affected. Then we started thinking, oh, everybody have to see MySejahtera, have to read. So we invented this so-called thermovis. Measure your temperature, you walk in, you don't have to go one by one. So we invented a small product. We sell to Sunway and sell to a few other companies. That's how we start changing our business model to fulfill the requirements of the general public. Then we look at the projects, overseas project and government project, in which there is a budget. You know, there are some organizations, they have budget forever. Do you know that? Schools, hospitals, they have budget forever. Ministry of Defense, this kind of departments. So we specialize on solutions catered for that few categories of industry. And slowly, order coming in. So we are actually quite lucky in terms of our so-called, I wouldn't say bad, our spotting the right market opportunity. Perhaps instinct tells us this is where the market is, this is where you can make money at this time, using this pandemic time. Who wants to see your smart building, smart solutions? You better think of something related to movement control. You better think about monitoring of the, so you know IoT, right? RFID is monitoring, tracking of the person. But MySejahtera is already doing that. What else can you do? So you have to design and focus on a solution in which large corporations or bigger group life goes on. I have to monitor my employee, my janitor, whether or not he's cleaning the toilet right now or he's pointing, doing his WhatsApp, hiding somewhere. The job can be, toilet can be cleaned in 20 minutes. Why is he taking 2 hours to clean? 3 hours? Or is it clock or some dirty thing there? Why? So we design a solution like this. We have solicited customers who is a subcontractor for this kind of job for large facilities. We provide them the solution. So to answer your question more precisely, during this pandemic, you have to adjust and live. I think this thing is going to go on for the next maybe 18 to 24 months. We have already have our key top management meeting. Have your mindset ready for another 24 months of similar type of environment. How do we make money and how do we survive during this tough time? So that is our company on our behalf. I'm sure other people have other strategies, but for us is we have to live with this condition for the next 18 to 24 months. And that's part of life, we have to face it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
So I think the time now is 3:11. I think we may have to make a stop here. I think before we stop, basically I would like to say a few
You help
words
me answer some questions.
Mr. Liu. So basically,
okay,
Utah is a young university, and we are proud and we are honored ever since the day one of Utah. We get the help from a lot of people, and we need to feel gratitude on probably all those who have helped us from day one until now. In Mandarin, we call 感恩. So yeah, something. So from the bottom of my heart, I have to thank Utah. I have to thank for the contribution from Mdt Innovation, contribution from Mr. Liu. So to Utah. So we have to thanks to Mr. Liu. We have to thanks to Mdt Innovation, and also thanks to all those who have helped, who have contributed to Utah ever since the day one of the university. So yeah, let me see. Just now I can see actually my president is here.
you
Yeah. So
maybe Professor Dr. Yu would like to say something.
Yeah, Prof. You want to say something to Mr. Liu?
Thank you very much to Mr. Liu for this very interesting and insightful sharing with our students and staff and also the public. We appreciate very much for your time and efforts. And also some of this, we also learned that how you actually during this challenging time, refocus your strategy and then looking at how to actually make the company to continue to survive. I suppose, and you're sharing about how to start a new company and the key skills and all that will also help our students to understand better. Thank you very much, Mr. Liu.
Thank you. May I say a few words before we close?
Yeah, sure, Mr. Liu.
Okay. I would like to say, you see, Malaysia has so many successful businessmen. One of them, which I respect very much, is Robert Kwok. Francis Robert Kwok is very successful and he contributed so much to the society. You see, we cannot, and it is extremely difficult for us to find another Robert Kwok. Okay, it's unique. But we can have many Liu Chunlian in our society because I'm just one of the ordinary entrepreneur. So Utah students, you can be more successful in time to come. With that, remember, we transform technologies into solution. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you once. Thank you once again to Mr. Liu. Thank you once again to all the audience. So in Mandarin we call 感恩. Thank you once again to everyone. So that concludes our talk for today. Thank you so much to everyone, including my president, Professor Yu. Thank you so much to Mr. Liu, and thank you so much to everyone. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
talk today.
Bye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.